How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting and welcome back to ReWrite Plus, where our little hearts were broken. Chibimoth passed, but even at the end, when Kotori kind of started detaching herself from it, which is kind of looks like it's one of her defensive mechanisms. Like, she did the same thing with us. Like, when she no longer felt she could just live a normal life, she tried to kind of cut herself off from us. To kind of get that separation. And so, like I said, I think it's a defense mechanism of hers, a way for her to try and process grief and process stress. Because she can obviously digest complex emotions. She's very good at it. But she also kind of, in a ways, she's had to become a soldier. And part of being a soldier is you have to be able to be detached a little bit. Like, the danger is that you can become so detached you stop really being empathetic and essentially human. Like, it can kind of make you feel like you're just a different species altogether and disassociate everything. And that's really dangerous and can be one of the long-term problems with the conditioning that you have to go through in the military. But at the same token, like, if you can't detach, not even military, like, I would also say careers. Like, if you're a doctor, especially like an ER doctor, if you are a counselor, especially a crisis counselor, if you are dealing with the rawness of humanity in its worst moments in any way, so like I said, soldier, ER doctor, I'd argue EMT, police officer, when you're constantly being confronted with some of the worst times in people's lives, whether it be because they're making terrible choices or whether because they're in a terrible situation and you cannot there's a part of you that dies inside seeing so much suffering. If you can't disassociate that, you will lock up and you'll no longer be useful. Because at that time, soldiers need you to be able to fight to save each other. At that time, an ER doctor has to put aside the horrors of what he's seeing or she's seeing and actually save lives. A counselor has to be detached enough to be objective. And then the harder part is having to go home and carry those burdens. When I talked to a psychologist when I was interested in that field, and I was asking him, like, what's it like being in the job? And he said that he's like, frankly, the job sucks. He's like, I hate, because I got this job because I wanted to help people and because I've always felt a connection, an empathetic connection to people. But when I started doing the work, I quickly learned if I allowed myself to be fully immersed in what I was seeing and the lives of my patients, I would go home and carry their burdens on my shoulders back to my family. And then I'd have to live with that at home because they don't know how to help process this. I barely know how to help process this. And then, he also talks about just the stress of sorry, I'm adjusting the mic. The stress of not knowing if your help did anything. You talk to people who are genuinely contemplating unaliving themselves, genuinely contemplating about abandoning their families or giving up on just their career and just kind of going out, get the milk, never come home kind of situation. They just talk about, this is something I'm really thinking about doing, and he had to try and figure out what do you say to that? How do you help that? And then they leave, and then they never come back. And he's like, I don't even know what happened. I never get to go and find out. I can't go and look them up and figure out if they're okay. That's not allowed. That's not if I did that, that's breach of confidentiality. You can easily get fired for that. And so that kind of weighed on him terribly. And he's like, it really sucks because I got into the field because I was empathetic, but because of my empathy, I'm now going to be pushing myself out of the field because I can't take it anymore. And so that's kind of what's going on here, I think. It's not that she'd been heartless or that she was cruel to Chibimoth. She clearly adored Chibimoth as Chibimoth. And she clearly cared for Pero, even if he was crazy, because she kept him around and did whatever she could to keep him there. But in the end, she sent Chibimoth after us to try and keep us safe, knowing that there's a good chance that if we were gonna die, or in the danger of dying, that Chibimoth was going to take the blow for us and get us home. That's what she knew she ordered him to do so, and that's what he did. She knew it was likely a one-way trip. And so I think she's disassociated because it's the best way to process and try and like keep herself together and move forward. But then we kind of reconnected that and got to have that really beautiful but heart-wrenching moment at the end. And so now we're here. So sorry for the big long roundup. It's just like it's been stuff that's been stewing in my brain for a while, so I want to get it out there. Really important to not be too like there's a time and a place for disassociation. It can help. It can be a lifesaver, literally. It can be some of the most important thing you do to be able to help other people and to help yourself. But you have to also balance it with a level of connection, because when you disassociate too far, you stop seeing the reasons why you can't just do whatever you want and, justify the ends, justify the means type of stuff. So here we are. We're in the workshop, and we're just kind of like, we're on the next day, obviously. Our hearts remain numb the following day. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I feel like I slept, but I also feel like I stayed up all night. When I came to, I was sitting on a stump. I had no particular objective here, and I can't even guess how long I was here. Kotori seems to be feeling similarly. She's sitting in front of her work table, motionless, shoulders slumped. She probably has a ton of things to do, but she just can't muster the will to do any of them. The key stopped singing a while ago and has returned to normal. That was the other thing that was really cool, was her singing and how the world kind of twisted around it. It was really interesting. It's strolling around the barriered area, satisfying its superficial curiosity by poking whatever piques its interest. If Chibimoth wasn't a beast, then the key, too, can't be a person. Yet Kotori is sacrificing everything to protect it. No, that's not right. Pero died because his lifespan came to an end. That was just natural. It didn't have anything to do with druids. To an extent, I'm sad and frustrated by that fact. It's like every piece is perfectly transparent, but things get muddy when they're piled on top of each other like cellophane. Yeah, and it's the battle of logic and emotion, and how odds they can be, because logic can often point you in really solid direction, gives you pretty much the answers you need, and objectively keeps things like when grounded in proper reasoning, the logical path and the logical reasoning leads you to proper conclusions, because the basis of logic is about how saying things as they are in verifiable, testable ways. And that's really important. Emotions don't care. And emotions are real, and they're just as valid, but they can be dangerous to make choices and decisions on, because they're privy to whims and the winds of change, and like a good example is cancel culture. I think it's good to hold people accountable, absolutely, but it gets dangerous when people dig up something from the past and use it to destroy what you're currently doing in your future. Because I had a good quote recently that was like, hypocrisy isn't always bad. Sometimes it's just a sign that a person is changing. And it's it's one thing if you say one thing and do another, at the same time. Like if you're preaching from a pulpit about celibacy and about how adultery is evil, and then you're caught chasing after a member of the congregation's married spouse, that's pretty hypocritical, and that really needs to be kept down on. But somebody who 10 years ago had a political view or a distasteful view of something, I would argue a big example would be trans rights. I didn't really even know the transgender community, nor what it stood for, nor what the struggles were probably 10 years ago, at all. Just never even crossed my mind, just wasn't something I was around. But I did hear occasionally about guys who dressed up like girls and girls who dressed up like guys. Ironically, girls dressing up as guys wasn't ever a huge issue. It was just kind of not traditional, but whatever. But guys dressing up as girls was always whoa, which is odd. Why is it such a big difference? But I never questioned it. And I remember expressing opinions that would likely today be labeled as transphobic. But I think a lot of it was just a lack of education, lack of understanding, and also being young. So does that make me today a bad person? If someone goes and digs up some of these comments or some odd Facebook post or something that might have gotten made. I don't even think I did. Like, I'm pretty sure I've always stayed really like I don't get political about stuff very often. And so like I doubt it would even be an issue for me, but like I'm a different person than I was then. I vote differently than I did back when I first turned 18. Like, all my assumptions and worldviews have majorly shifted. Like, I wouldn't say like far departures, but like the idea is that people change over time. And when people use the emotions of the outrage to destroy somebody whom they feel absolutely deserves it, I bet you if you asked them a year later if they really deserved what happened to them, most of us would probably agree and probably admit, no, that probably was a little over the top. So I don't know. Emotions are good tools, but they can be really inaccurate and devastating ones. Man, I'm getting preachy today. So it's been like the first 10 minutes. I think I've done 3 slides. I'm so sorry. All right, anyway. A tragedy like that was more luck than fate. And as such, it didn't have a simple solution. That's why some people just give up and shut themselves away from the world. Yeah. I should say something. That might help her out. Yeah, you should, but what? I approached the working area. I think you'll feel a little better if you at least try to move your hands. You didn't sleep much yesterday either, did you? Kotori's shoulders quake. Her right hand seizes a scalpel. There are veins, membranes, and organic-looking threads. Vines, not veins. Vines, membranes, and organic-looking threads. They're probably parts of a familiar. The sound of her working pushed back the crushing silence. I wonder what's going on outside. It'd be hard to come back if I stepped out. Suppressing my uneasiness, I sit myself down right there. I don't have the guts to go out scouting again. It's been silent since this morning. I wonder how many organizations are involved. The only part that's obvious is that some people are fighting summoners in the forest. And Imamiya being one of the former. It'd save us a bunch of trouble if they ended up destroying each other. I wonder how it'd go if that really happened.
難しいね。
Kotori answers in a voice tinged with exhaustion. But it still makes me happy. All she had to do is acknowledge my existence and I'll be ready to listen to any of her woes. I see. It's rough. I think I've exhausted all my tricks for now. Maybe I should stay and train here for real. I could rewrite myself, but you don't seem to like that idea, so I'd probably be a different man if I managed to keep it up for over a month. But if I did, I'd probably get at least 3 times stronger. Hey, do you have any strong familiars I could train with?
10倍強くなっても、向こうの方がもっと強いよ。
Oh, okay, cool. They're that strong?
人間は鍵を殺せるだけの力を持っちゃってる。その一部でしかない小太郎くんの力は、到底あの人たちには通じない。
I keep getting this idea though that so this implies that there's always been these superhuman-like people. Like, but how many? How common is it? Is there like a way you can unlock that power? Like, is this something you can be trained to do, or do they literally have to go and find, like the mutant X-Men out amongst the population? And is this power like tied to the key somehow, or is it independent? Maybe it's because she's depressed, but Kotori doesn't seem to be choosing her words carefully at this point. Yeah.
でも、心配いらないかも。もうじき、全部終わるかもしれないから。
What do you mean?
鍵が歌い始めたら、それは印。
Oh, whoops. I don't see her singing now.
地震に余震があるみたいに、歌にも予兆があるんだって。でも、鍵の傾向は、もう歌に向いてるみたい。
It's like she's sang, I wonder if she's sang in response to the tragedy, or if she sung in response to the grief and the emotion. Because it's like, when she was watching violence, she had that creepy smile. Like, she was fascinated by it, right? But then when she saw us grieving over Chibimoth and the miracle that was Pero coming through at the very end, she sang. So why? Like, what's the motivation? Like, why were those two situations so, like, reacted to so differently? And the smile, like, she's not human, so what does that smile mean? I don't know. What happens when it finishes its song?
救済が起こる。
And when that happens, your job's gonna be done.
そうなるかな。何もかもが終わりになると思う。
Like, everything. That'll make it easier on you, right? Then what's the problem? You did your best. I know all about how much effort you put into this. Take it easy. I'll stick by your side to the end. I place a hand on her shoulder. Later that afternoon, Kotori suddenly wakes up from a nap, jumping to her feet. What? What's wrong? Did you have a bad dream?
眠れない。何も準備できてない。時間足りない。終わらない。気になって眠れない。
Calm down. Kotori continues to ramble as though she's having a mental breakdown. She probably is. I don't think it's a I don't think it's like a, oh, she might be having a mental breakdown. Like, no, this is mental breakdown. We entered mental breakdown territory like weeks ago. We're real deep in the crap now.
眠いの。頭ぼんやりするのに眠れないの。
Fetch, we need like a sleeping pill. Like, she really just needs to be just unconscious for a little while.
気持ち悪いと仕事できない。集中しないと魔物は作れないから。
Okay, Kotori, I know you might not agree with this, and you might question my motivations, but if I were here and I was Kotori right now, I'd be like, look, come here, we lie down, and I would like, I don't know, just snuggle her, stroke her hair, do something, because like, she has to sleep, and you gotta do something to help her like, stop running in these frantic circles of just, because that's the problem, is like we run into these circles of stress, but there's nothing, like, there's no point. She's even pointing this out here. She's just like, I can't sleep because I have so much I need to do. But I can't work because I have to sleep. Like, it's worse now. Because she's doing neither. She's not progressing.
でも寝れない。仕事できない。頑張らないと。本当に全部なくしちゃう。頑張らないと。頭ぼんやりしてても頑張らなきゃ。
Kotori tries moving toward her work area after giving herself a motivational speech. I take her hand and stop her. You don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. Skip work for today. It's alright. Just accept you won't make it either way. You can't sleep. Then how about playing some cards? I don't know. His approach, I think, is wrong. He's essentially trying to tell her to give up. That's not what she should be doing. He should be like, look, you can't do one without the other. Focus on the one that you can do something about right now. Like, not both. It's like which can you do? Sleep or work? Well, you can't work. You say you're too dizzy to actually work. So you'd be burning a ton of energy for nothing. You say you can't sleep because you know you need to work, but really, like, your lack of sleep is what's holding you back. You have to sleep. We can do hide and seek, or Shiritori if you want. Is Shiritori the card game? Like the... No, that's Hanafuda. Humans can't do what they can't do. Losing strength, she crumples to the ground. This time, she sleeps until evening. We eat dinner, then do nothing in particular. We don't speak at all. Kotori's at her limit. Our situation is most likely hopeless. Kotori can see the future that I can't. The next day, the situation changes. Rumbling sounds thunder through the forest. Whoa. I'm forcefully ripped from my sleep. It's early in the morning. I slept enough so my head still feels clear. Kotori, is this?
おしまいみたい。
Kotori answers me with a calm voice.
花火。
Oh, it's the end of the festival. Okay. I thought we were being assaulted with, like, cannons. She points at the sky toward the direction of the town. Gaudy fireworks are coloring the sky. It looked like daylight there. That doesn't make sense. But that's not the cause of the sound that woke me up. They'll continue until the Harvest Festival officially ends tonight. And so, is someone actually trying to make gunfire with them? Mask gunfire with them. Who'd do such a thing?
膠着状態が続くと困る人たち。
Okay. So, They're using fireworks to cover up like the noise of a really bad fight.
小太郎くんが森で見た魔物を狩る人たち。
Those guys. I'd assumed they were using weird powers instead of guns, but it probably only made sense to utilize everything in your arsenal. I should have known.
近くで戦ってる。
I'll check the barrier. I dash around and examine the edges. I don't even need to confirm all the spots. Kotori, a bunch of the carvings have shattered. The barrier's gone.
負荷が大きすぎたね。じゃあ、ゲームセットだ。
The key's probably already gone too, huh? Kotori smiles like it has nothing to do with her. My back is covered in cold sweat. Let's run.
逃げる？どこにも逃げるところなんてないよ。
Kotori looks distant, like failing her mission has also made her lose her motivation to live.
これでおしまいか。結局私は何したんだろう。
You were being the amazing. You were being the best person.
知らなければよかった。こんな秘密なんて。真っ赤だな。
She hides her face in her hands. Kotori's breaking down. Sound reminiscent of knocking reverberates through the area. The ground below us explodes. I look up to find a man standing before me. He's holding something long and black. At first, I think he's holding some kind of musical instrument. Then a messenger of the end has appeared to play us a requiem. I instinctively stand in the trajectory of the invisible line between the rod and Kotori as the man raises it up. An explosive sound echoes. An impact like a baseball bat slants into my shoulder. I fall sideways as though pushed aside. I touch my shoulder and feel something wet at my fingertips. Blood. Mysteriously enough, it didn't hurt. That's a gun, you idiot. We're students. Who on earth would shoot on sight?
小太郎くん。
Kotori's lifeless eyes suddenly refocus. She glares at the man approaching us with a rifle. The atmosphere shifts. A group of familiars jump into the field we're in. Molded from wild boars. And not just those. All sorts of critters start appearing from all over. From within the shadows, from under the bushes, from the thick branches of the trees. An army of beasts. Birds and snakes made of flowers and vines. Beasts that look like a wolf. A group of small mammoths like Chibimoth. This is Kotori's personal army. The man with the gun freezes. He opens fire, but there's little he can do in the face of those numbers. The beasts rush him from all sides. The man tries to escape by jumping to the treetops. A couple of familiars chase after him. Eventually, a cry reverberates amidst the trees. Is he dead? The thought makes me shiver, but I probably should have gone with the beast to assist them. Can't let Kotori bear this sin alone.
小太郎くん、よかった。鉄砲の弾抜けてる。
We really probably should run. If the key's not here, obviously this is a great place of power for her, but can we? The forest is gonna be so full. An awful wound is gaping in the opposite side where I was shot. Kotori inspects it, her face pale.
あれ出して。右手から出るやつ。
The Aurora?
傷薬の代わりになるから。
Really? I place my right hand over the wound and try summoning it. I let it flow inside the wound.
処理。
Kotori touches it and the pain slowly draws away. Really feels like she's casting healing magic on me. Then she dexterously makes a sling and sets my arm in it.
30分くらい動かさないで。それで安定するから。
Wow. That's actually really cool. Dang. Thanks. Damn. That was quite something.
うん。
Now that there's nothing to do again, Kotori once again sinks to the ground. We've got to run. I doubt that guy was acting alone. It takes a while for her to reply.
小太郎くん、一人で行っていいよ。
Nuh-uh. Not gonna happen.
私、ここを守らないと。
That's suicide.
そうなのかな。わかんないや。
Come on, let's go back to town for now. They won't be able to shoot their guns in a crowd. Our chances are probably close to 0. Nonetheless, I want to struggle to the very end. Let's get supplies in town, then we move toward the farms without using public transport. Kazamatsuri is surrounded by countless farms. They'll probably have a harder time tracking us if we don't use the trains. And our options will open up even further if we can just manage to get to the next town. I lay out my plan to Kotori. Come on, Kotori. Doesn't seem like I'm getting anywhere. I forcefully take her hand. Take everything you think we'll need with you. Kotori moves toward her workspace with languid steps. She gonna leave her soul here, though? I pack my stuff as well. It takes no time at all. They probably already figured out who we are, but nonetheless, I use a lighter to burn everything that might give away our identities. Kotori returns with a bag. Have your familiars protect the power spot. Focus all your forces there. We can't take them to town with us anyway. Kotori nods, and all sorts of beasts begin appearing from the shrubbery. Even a giant wooden man lumbers toward us, his steps shaking the ground as it walks. That one's pretty impressive. He must have turned a 30-meter tall tree into a familiar. That's definitely the strongest of the Mokujin. Yeah, it's like an ant. It moves slowly, but it looks like it packs quite a punch. And it's not the only one. Kotori actually has multiple giants in her army. Have the big ones stand around it, forming a wall. Kotori positions her familiars like I recommended. Tell them to fend off anyone that tries to approach the power spot. An army of beasts line up in the open field. Looks like a scene from a fantasy movie. Alright, there's nothing else we can do. Let's go, Kotori. Don't forget to take the key with you. The sound of trees splitting approaches us quickly. It's an attack. Trees fall aside like sliding doors. It's gonna be the T-Rex, isn't it? The silhouette of a dinosaur peeks from the destruction. Run! I grab it with both of her hands and run the opposite direction. I look back and see the giant wooden man getting helplessly crushed between the dinosaur's fangs. Fetch me. Not wasting any more time with gawking, I jump straight to the shrubbery. So the key is still here. That's something. But now what? Thoroughly coated in dew this early in the morning. But the thick mist is convenient for escaping. I could have dashed through the area in seconds, but I can't leave those two behind. Kotori quickly runs out of breath. I stop and make her drink some water from a canteen. Can you, carry her? We should be we're crazy strong, maybe not on the scale of Dino Doom, but we should be able to carry her, and then the key, I imagine, can fly or something. She doesn't seem bound by normal laws. Surely we could just, I don't know, tie her to a string and drag her along? The key looks fine. I guess physical limitations aren't a concern for it. After letting Kotori catch her breath, we resume moving. I can feel various presences from all over the area. Can't even tell they're belong to beasts or humans. Though it hardly matters when we're fighting against both. I suddenly sense a high-level threat from the field ahead of us. Seems both factions have unleashed an all-out attack against each other. But that only makes things more convenient for us. Now there's holes around the perimeter we can slip through. Can't waste this chance. They open fire without saying a word. Both sides must be desperate. The time for question or truce is long past.
Tomare.
A group of men suddenly appears in front of us. They're wearing masks, dressed like JSDF soldiers armed with guns.
動くな。
3 in total. One talks while the others keep their guns pointed at us. Their gaze is emotionless. They're looking at us like we're things, not living beings.
天王寺小太郎と神戸小鳥だな。
Yes. They know about us after all.
拘束させてもらう。抵抗すれば処分する。
Cool. We won't.
持ち物をそっと捨てろ。大きな動きをしたら撃つ。
I place my bag at my feet.
二人ともこの木に向かって立て。両手は
Doesn't look like they can see the key either. Maybe it can save us? Or is trusting it too risky? It's an unknown quantity. Maybe if we're really up against the wall here, it might be worth trying to hold on to and trying to see if she can save us. But I would never throw my hope into the key unless there's literally nothing else. But we might be there. Can't expect it to make carefully considered decisions. Perhaps it's for the best to just let them capture us.
伏せて。
A barely audible whisper mingling with an exhaled breath. Only I'm close enough to hear it. Kotori and I duck at the same time. An enormous presence suddenly explodes behind us like a destructive force passing overhead. Complete silence returns a few seconds later. I turn my head to see... Huh? What are you doing here? I thought you moved away and... The three men are lying on the ground. Their splattered blood and twisted limbs stand as testament to the destruction that just swept through here. Judging from their moans, they're still alive, but... Mr. Kanabe is carrying something like a golf bag on his shoulder. Ms. Kanabe is holding a club seemingly carved from a large piece of wood. It looks like it's seen recent use. Blood oozes down its length. Why?
大丈夫かい二人とも
Yeah, fetch me. What?
大丈夫ですか二人とも。
What's up with them? It all suddenly makes sense. How long? Oh no. Are her parents also familiars? How long's it been like this? I looked at Kotori. She cast her gaze downward, making it impossible to read her expression. Why didn't I notice earlier? Was it simply hidden against the backdrop of normal life? Kotori's parents always had a reticent air about them, never talking more than necessary. Always extras at the back of the stage, acting with almost calculated humanity. But I've learned that all people are individuals. The understanding father, the well-bred, elegant mother. I never doubted that impression, averted my eyes from the real truth. How long have they been like this? When did you turn them into familiars? Fetch me. What about my parents? My parents also seem to be super like, we're just gone.
子供の頃からだよ。
Are you serious? Holy crap. Did you do that to them?
そうだよ。
Kotori is tensed up like a child talking back.
ペロと一緒だよ。
So they died and you just kind of built them back?
死んだから利用してるだけ。親がいないとこの土地にいられないから。魔物にしてずっと演じさせてたんだよ。
Holy crap. Okay. I don't know why, but making human familiars starts to really start going into that creepy area.
それがどうかした？
Okay. Objectively, no. It's the same argument I always make for necromancy in like my D&D games. Like one of the character ideas I've always toyed with that I've never been able to really execute because A, I tend to DM all the time, and B, it's also just like not super relevant. But the idea is that a dedicated like arcane necromancer whom is constantly trying to like help people understand. It's like, look, these are people's bodies. They don't need them anymore. I can use a little magic and I can take it and I can turn it into something useful. So what do you prefer? Putting something under the ground and like just letting it rot and sit there? Or having somebody who can move around like cargo and like materials? Someone who can protect things. Someone who can follow simple commands and follow them through with unfearing like determination. And like that's his whole spiel. It's like he's like, look, you might think it's weird because they were people, but that's the thing, they were people. They're not people now. But still, interesting. Are you kidding me? What does she think about her parents? Is this how you pay respect to their bodies? But those words vanished in the air the moment I see Kotori shivering and biting her lip. A fire lights up in my chest. I embrace her trembling shoulders. I don't care about ethics or morality anymore. I understand. You don't need to explain. How much can you control them?
武器があれば戦えて、あと生前やったことのある行動なら記憶を参照して実行できる。会話は日常生活レベルで相手に合わせられるくらい。
Oh, dang.
ペロみたいに姿をごまかす能力はない。
I see. I don't know how to react in a way that wouldn't be disrespectful. My only option is to accept it as it is. Yeah, granted, even if you were to disregard or like to want to like say something about this, like we're not in a position to have much to like, to say. Like, we gotta go. Let's go. I hesitate, wondering if it might be a good idea to keep their to take their guns. I probably couldn't do much with them without proper training, though. And honestly, especially if you're on the run, traveling with a weapon like a gun, in one way it could be good because it means you could defend yourself, but in another, it makes you much more susceptible to being stopped and caught. So what I would maybe say, if you were really considering, I guess he hasn't had training, so it might be more dangerous than not, but if he had even a little bit of training, like I got done Boy Scouts and we did shooting, I would take the gun with me until we were ready to try and like flee. Like once we got to the city limits, I would drop them, and then we would try and do our pattern. Because like as soon as like people can find us, we want to not be carrying firearms illegally. I feel like I could see myself shooting them, but those are probably naive ideas of an amateur. Instead, I break them. The pistols are a bit too difficult for me, so I pass them to the key to destroy them with the driven. I highly doubt they'll follow us in a state therein regardless. I'm sorry, but I can't treat your wounds. I won't kill you, so survive if you can.
逃げ場などないぞ。
The man squeezes out a line desperately, despite lying prone on the ground. A bone is peeking out from his broken leg. The one won't be chasing for sure. There's nowhere to run. I take that to mean you've got more people in the forest? I don't think it's very smart to leak that kind of information. Well, we've got no choice but to run anyway. Our group has gotten larger, but having adults on our side is reassuring. Mr. Kanabe picks Kotori up, helping increase our movement speed significantly. The key possesses top-notch physical abilities, so it can easily keep up with us as long as I'm holding its hand to direct it. And so, we spend almost an hour traversing the forest. Oh, fetch, we're here! Until we finally emerge at the boundary of the city. We're somewhere in the park. I can see tents, pavilions in the distance. And some people, too. We move quickly and blend into the crowd so we don't stand out. Most people pass like they're, look like they're on a morning walk. They're probably staying in hotels in the area. We need cash. Our escape funds. The banks are closed, but we could probably use convenience store ATMs. My parents wire me living expenses every month. It's not exactly a fortune, but at least we won't need to worry about food for the time being. Kotori silently pulls out a stack of bills. Where'd you get all that money? My living expenses look like pocket change compared to that. Guess I don't even need to waste time withdrawing money. I'm suddenly feeling like some kind of gigolo. I'll use this with gratitude. Anyway, let me get everything we need real quick. Mr. Kanabe, can you drive?
運転資金については前年度の実績を考慮し。
Uh-huh. I was asking if you got a driver's license.
免許は持っているよ。
Ah, so that's the real reason behind Mr. Kanabe's famous airhead joke routine. He reacts to words like some kind of encyclopedia program. He's like a very basic chat GPT. There's no thought there. It's just a set of pre-programmed reactions. Kind of makes me sad.
ダメ。運転は難しい。
I see. Kotori nods. We can't rent a car then. Though we probably couldn't have gotten one anyway with this level of congestion. Well, thinking about it is a waste of time at this point. What are our other options? A taxi wouldn't work. They're too easy to track. Same for buses. Besides, today's the last day of the Harvest Festival. We'd probably just end up stuck in traffic. Because the buses and trains or fixed stops won't work either. Could we use bicycles? All 5 of us together? That'd stand out too much. No matter how hard I think, I can't come up with a better alternative than just walking. We could pretend to be a family. Using the crowds at the festival, we could slip out of town and the plan comes together in my head. Okay, first let's get the shopping out of the way. Wait here.
待って。一緒にいたい。
Aww. How can you say no to that? Kotori tugs on my sleeve. Does that mean you'd like to frolic with me?
そう。
Okay. Kotori, you're definitely not okay. I was trying to embarrass her, but I ended up blushing instead. I see. Golly, I'm sinful, man. You got burned if you get too close to me.
また変なこと言って。
There we go. That's more like it. I'm not flustered.
話の流れがつかめないよ。とにかく、一緒に行動していたいんだけど。
Okay. Alright. There's a glimmer of old Kotori there. Okay. Together forever. That sounds great. But, well, I'm happy you feel that way, but it'll only take a moment. No, take her with you! I realized my hand from hers. Look after the key. Also, our houses are most likely marked, so don't go anywhere close to them.
早くね。
I have a horrible feeling about this. I'll get my business out of the way quickly and hurry back. Why couldn't she just stay there with you? Well then. All the supermarkets are closed on a day like this, so I suppose I have no choice but to visit one of the convenience stores. I make a list of necessities in my mind. First, change of clothes and food. I really want a warm meal for a change. That's not too difficult to find with all these stands operating during the festival. Then, do we need weapons? Do we? I'm not planning to fight. Might be convenient to have a knife, but it'd suck to get arrested for possessing a weapon at this point. I'll trust the one I already have, especially since it's easy to conceal. Medicine could be useful, but I'm not sure if it's necessary with Kotori and her powers. There's surprisingly few things we actually need. I end up focusing mainly on foods and clothes. Dang. I didn't think this through. The Harvest Festival leaves convenience stores as empty as a soccer match between two seeded teams. I checked 6 stores, but all of them were the same state. I managed to buy some clothes, but they're mainly plain white shirts. These kinds of stores generally don't have much outside of underwear. At least there's a lot of the stalls open. I've heard some of them actually operate through the night. Let's check and see if they have anything I need. Hurry! Hurry! I wander into the slum. It's similar in appearance to the Metropolis slum, but inhabitants here aren't really poor or anything. More like a pretend slum. In short, all the people here are fans of slums instead of actually shady characters. Well, that's nice. A guy in a leather jacket with a bunch of bags in his hand approaches me almost right away.
Brother! 用意しといたぜ
Darn, you're quick.
まったく俺が人にパシられるなんてな
What's the issue? Did you forget I Lord Yoshino's friend?
ああ、カリスマも別にここの支配者ってわけじゃねえんだが
That said, it took a while for the call to finally go through.
なんだか通信状況バッドだぜこれからもっと厳しくなりそうださあ、確認してくれ
The bags mainly contain long-lasting foods and beverages. Thanks. That should last us for a while. Here's the cash, and a tip too. You can keep it for a rainy day.
カエルスタンプじゃんいらねえよ景品オーバー用ばっかだぞこれ背筋伸び伸び健康ベルトとかよ
I see the Harvest Festival hasn't even reached the slum. The stands look more alive than ever.
ああ、そりゃな稼ぎ時さ
I'm seeing regular people strolling around. I better not see you causing them trouble.
してねえようちのカリスマがうるせえしそういうのは昔の話だ
Good. I had a lot of punks pick a fight with me here, though.
倍返ししてるだろあんた
I might have got hurt if I was weak.
まあたくさんいるからたまにどうしてもそういうバカがな
Besides, all those stands are selling counterfeit goods, aren't they, huh?
言いがかりだぜボッタは紳士協定ってのがあって3店舗に1点のみだ
Only 1 in 3. That's a lot! That's still a lot.
喧嘩とボッタはスラムの花
That actually makes sense. Sorry. I've lost the battle of wills. Seems like he possesses a special appreciation for counterfeit shops. I can't say anything near that honest.
それに基本ボッタ分は森林保護とかに寄付してるしや
Interesting. So that sounds like they might be run by, I don't know, like the summoners or something. You guys are all nuts.
基本的に俺らは人に優しい不良なんだぜ
Honestly, don't think that makes sense to call you delinquents at this point. I don't have time for this. Anyway, see you around, man.
遊んでいかねえのかいつかその食い物何
I've got some pressing business today, so maybe next time. Hello. I ended up running into him, of all people. Yoshino.
よーカリスマ今夜も各店舗とも売り上げはご機嫌だぜ
俺には関係ね
関係くらいあるだろ
He's like, I'm pretty sure it does.
え俺は居心地がいいからここに来てる
uh,
それだけだ
even though you're, yeah, doing your thing, okay.
祭りの間はどこも騒がしくていけね
Dang, actually acting like that here too. He's ignoring me. Guess he's sticking with what he said in the classroom a few days ago. Can't believe that was just a few days ago. Feels like years. ever, even unforgettable, eye-opening events are like a normal part of my life to me now. The normal life that I'll never have again.
俺のことなんて眼中にねえ。高みからただ見下してやがった。
なあ、今回は上納金くらい受け取ってくれよ。
いらねえ。
Did you find a part-time job for the festival? He's serious about this. He's ignoring me completely. Come on, I know I was picking on him, but I had no idea how else to interact with him.
おい、空気悪いな。喧嘩でもしてんのかい？
透けてるだけだ。
は？
限りなく透明になり、そして無に等しくなる。魂の哀れな末路だぜ。
かっこいい。
No wonder. He gets a lot of positive reinforcement for stuff like that. It does? I really can't understand the sensibilities of these people. Now you said it, Yoshiki. You know, I'd like to know just one thing. How do you imagine a relationship where one doesn't look down on the other? Is it where we fight each other at our best? Where I answer your challenge and we settle the score? Is that really the only way you know how to confirm the foundation of a relationship? This is serious. It's like he's saying that there isn't even room for an explanation. This will probably be the last I ever speak with him. Most likely won't be able to return to school anymore. The lonely end, but now I can understand it. Half-baked people like myself rarely ever achieve what they want. But it still feels frustrating not to. He wanted to fight me, seriously? But that's... No, he wished for that himself. It's over anyway, we won't meet again. And if that's the case, I hand the bags back to Winterfang. Why not? We might as well get serious for a change. I'm saying I'm gonna do what you want. I'm gonna fight you for real. He gives me an inquisitive look.
どうせいつもの口だけだ。
He turns his back to me. I jump forward. I kick the back of his knee with all my strength. Then I catch him by the neck and he loses his balance and starts strangling him. He ends up hanging limply from my hands. I mean, he asked for it. How do you like it, Yoshino? This is what happens when I get serious. Yoshino's attempt to resist quickly peter out. And he crumples in my arms. I let go just as he's about to completely lose consciousness. Yoshino falls to his knees, coughing. That's one win for me. The peanut gallery explodes in clamor, but I pay them no attention. I'm only listening to Yoshino right now. His eyes bloodshot from humiliation and anger look up at me. Don't you think it's anticlimactic? This whole being serious crap? This is how I fight for real, not looking down on you, so I use the most efficient and cheap way to neutralize you. But this isn't enough. I haven't even been a fraction of my real strength yet. Pull it out of me. Make me go all out. It's your turn next.
上等だ。
Yoshino takes a boxing stance. The second round starts with us facing each other. I don't assume a stance. There's nothing better than a neutral pose than my kind of physical ability. It makes it impossible for the opponent to read what I'm going to do next. I lower my hips and help spring into motion at the last possible moment. Yoshino throws a punch at me. I step forward and seize his collar. I use my hips and legs to lift him. I can barely feel his weight. From front suplex. Or if that's what I'd like to do, but we're standing on concrete, I throw him against the wall instead. One person's weight is nothing to me. That's 2 wins for me.
くそ!
He strikes the ground with his fist. This is what an overwhelming difference in speed and sheer strength basically means. Adults don't require a well-honed technique to subdue children. They can just hit from their overwhelming strength and hold them down. God, this does feel superior now. Is it the slum inhabitants or the tourists making all this noise? Cheers, jeers, and random screams all around us melt into each other, becoming impossible to discern. They feel so far away. I'd have won if we're going for best of 3, so let's make it 5. Get up.
畜生が!
Letting fury overtake him, Yoshino rises up. He assumes the same boxing stance. I can let him have a proper fist fight for the last one, at least. I assume a stance too. That said, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I merely raise my fists. This makes the end of my pretending, I guess. I've made up my mind to throw everything away from the one thing I want. He moves with small steps. I can't see any real planning behind them. I wait motionless.
来い。
And he waits for me to attack, right? I let him start the second round. Fine, I can do that. I release my fists. Palms are more convenient for someone like me. It doesn't matter if my reach is reduced. I don't intend to snipe him with one distant attack. I'm going to jump into the fray regardless. I step forward, except I lower my body at lightning speed. Yoshino doesn't move. He can't react. I strike his chin with the palm from below. Must feel like having a firework launched underneath you. Yoshino, fighting spirit still burning bright in his eyes, collapses. Takes a while for Yoshino to finally understand his condition when he lies on the ground. I didn't hit him hard. He shouldn't have lost consciousness. Eventually.
そうかよ。
Yoshino, seemingly having lost all intent to fight, slowly raises himself up. Satisfied?
そんなわけねえだろ。前に言ったな。
Yoshino's shoulders tremble as he fixes his eyes on the ground.
見ろ。ちっとも互角なんかじゃねえ。てめえは。
I'm sorry. I'm getting a bad vibe from our audience. I don't know where exactly it's coming from, but it seems like I've caught somebody's attention. I have to make myself scarce. Crap. We probably won't meet again, but, well, good luck in life and take it easy, man.
神戸は。
Yeah, she's the only one I've got left.
そうかよ。てめえのが強えんだ。当然の結果だな。遅えんだよ。もっと早く納得させろってんだ。クソ野郎。クソ。
I knew it. Were you in love with her? I suspected it for a while. Who wouldn't be, honestly? He'd always get so flustered when she was around. It was obvious he had some sort of feelings for her. Sorry, but this is the one thing I can't hand over.
そうかよ。分かってたぜ。そんなの昔のてめえは認めることはできねえ。けど今のお前なら言っちまえ。自分のことをしろ。
I wish that were true, man. I feel really not in my zone right now. Thanks. The audience finally starts quieting down. I attract too much attention. I take the bags back from Winter Fang. Having witnessed the utter defeat of his idol, he looks completely out of it. I'm being followed. Do you guys have some secret route out of here?
ああ、いきなりだな。追われてるってだ。
Think I'd tell you? I don't want to get you people involved that much.
あまりないレベルかよ。あるけど。
Winterfang glances at Yoshino. I'm officially an enemy to them now.
案内してやってくれ。
あんたがそう言うのなら、こっちだ。
I'm guided to the back exit of some noodle shop. The guy running it, obviously a former punk. He lets us through after a single nod from Winterfang, and they emerge out to the main street. I'm probably shaking off whoever's following me for the time being. Thanks.
ああ、また遊びに来てくれ。バスケやろうぜ。
I'll do that, if I ever get the opportunity again. Winterfang raises his right hand. Picking up on his intentions, I hit it with my fist and step out of the shop. I have to move before I'm discovered again. Please, Kotori, please be there. I fiddle with my phone. The amount of people in the area must be interfering with the signal. I can't get through.
携帯ダメね。
なんだこりゃ。着信拒否？
さっきから何度もかけてんのに。
The signal is unstable. The cell towers can't handle the strain of so many people using their phones in the same place. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised at this kind of crowd. I have to find Kotori right away. Why'd you separate? I spot someone who reminds me of the MIBs in the direction I'm heading. It's only a small detail, but the way they're walking is kind of strange. Their superhuman physical aptitude emanates in every motion. Probably one of the same people that was hunting monsters in the forest. The bees that possess superior strength to other special powers. They act in an organized manner, sometimes carrying firearms, and from what I've already experienced firsthand, don't hesitate to kill. They're probably looking for the key. And Kotori and I are witnesses as far as they're concerned. I give up on the alleyway and circle around, running into a crowd of tourists. Get stuck in human traffic here. I could climb a building if there were so many witnesses around, but
あいつじゃないのか。
they found me. People have an uncanny ability to catch words concerning themselves even in the noisiest of places. He's standing at a distance, but he looks like the same guy from earlier. He points at me while evidently speaking to another of his kind. I briefly panicked, but I quickly realized there's no way for them to get me in this crowd. I have to escape from the congestion before they do. Looks like they're trying to use their phones, but since nothing's working, they're just confused. Guess I don't need to worry about backup. Alright. Yeah, there's the homosexual molester here. Hey! Just say molester. The crowd instantly parts, with men in particular hurrying to get away from me. The trick works in even a train packed like sardines if you have the guts to use it. I slip through the path that opens before me.
よかった。携帯繋がらなくて。
Okay, yes. Okay, good. We're here, but we gotta hurry. So, okay. Alright. We're gonna end here. I know things are probably gonna get insane in the next few seconds. I was gonna die if we got here and Kotori was gone. But she's here. So, I can breathe until next week. Oh, holy crap. I do think it's awesome. We got to have like a real fight with Yoshino. Finally got his, got what he wanted. God, everything's so sad. Everything's just depressing right now. Kotori's like lost part of herself, and I don't know if she's gonna recover from it. The key's here, but not near the place of power. So like, are we just gonna be on the run for the rest of our lives? And I don't even know if we're gonna be able to get out of the city at this point. Even if we try and walk. I just don't know. I just want them to be happy, dang it. So we'll figure it out, but we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much, especially for the patrons and the members. So look, I'm not sure what the current state of videos coming out this week are, but I've been still having computer issues pop up. I thought they were resolved. I really wasn't seeing them at all. But then I tried recording Yakuza 0, and it's just not been working. So, I just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen from here on out. I'm going to do my best, but there's a good chance that the computer has to go back to the shop again, and we're going to just troubleshoot, and, you know, if things don't work out, maybe I'll just have to rebuild a computer, and that could mean weeks of lack of videos, so we'll just have to see how it all plays out, but hopefully I get something put together. I hate like that my entire hobby hinges on the computer that can suddenly have such a weird issue that no one can seem to fix, so I don't know. Anyway, hopefully I'll figure something out, but I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate you spending your time and just being a part of the channel and letting me know how you think and feel about everything. Guys, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for being here, and until the next video, watch me or see me next. I'll see you there.